Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the OnePlus 12 and compare it against the iPhone 14 and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, both these phones are very different, and there are flagship features on both these devices, which is really nice. So let's go and see how both these phones compare. If you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both, the iPhone 14, which came out back in 2022, so almost 2 years ago, on the front of this phone has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, I think this panel overall looks pretty good. I don't really have that much to complain about here from this particular panel. I think it's a great looking phone. I think it still has a lot of capability and a lot of quality. And I definitely will tell you, for the most part, if I'm buying a phone, it still is a pretty good display. It's a 60 hertz panel, but it is an OLED panel. You're getting obviously pretty, a notch on top and a little bit of a bezel around it. It's not terrible, but compared to the OnePlus 12, it's definitely not that amazing. The OnePlus 12, on the other hand, has a much bigger 6.82-inch LTPO AMOLED display here. So this is a much bigger panel. It's also going to be giving you a 120 hertz display as well. It's another really big thing to keep in mind. This panel also gets brighter. It's just an overall better panel looking phone, but it's a much bigger phone, so keep that in mind. If you don't want to carry a big phone around, that one might be better. On top of that, you are getting a curved side to it, which is a really nice touch as well. I like having a curved side. I like having flat sides though too, so I don't know which one I'm going to prefer. But it's a whole punch display, very little bezel around it, and you can kind of see what's going on and how good this panel looks overall. Now for the rest of the bodies, a little bit of a different styling as well. The OnePlus 12 definitely is a more unique looking device. With the OnePlus 12, you're essentially getting this, kind of flat side. It's a curved side on the OnePlus 12, but it's kind of flat on one side a little bit. I don't know how to describe it. The iPhone 14 is completely flat, and you can kind of get an idea of how much bigger the OnePlus 12 is over the iPhone 14. On the top side, you're getting just basically not much except microphones. On the bottom, you are getting your USB Type-C port on the OnePlus 12 with a SIM card tray. The iPhone 14, no SIM card tray, just a Lightning port. So just another thing to keep in mind there too. On the back side, this is actually a pretty crazy difference here, because when you look at both, you can actually see that the OnePlus 12 is giving you that triple camera setup, but it's such a unique looking phone on the OnePlus 12. It's actually crazy how good of a job OnePlus did with this design. It kind of stems from the previous generation too. Definitely with the OnePlus 12, it's a very unique looking phone for sure, which is something I like. Glass back here too, it's like a frosted glass back. The iPhone 14, dual camera setup with its, standard glass back. You are getting wireless charging on both. You're getting that MagSafe capability on the back of the iPhone 14. You are getting reverse wireless charging though on the OnePlus 12, which is a really nice little feature to have on that particular device. So definitely I'll tell you, on the outside of both these phones, very good stuff going on here. I like both these devices when it kind of comes down to it. But if I'm going to pick up one, I don't know. I like the design of the OnePlus 12. I just think it's kind of a too big of a phone for me. But I like this phone a lot, and I think it definitely holds up very, very well. Now in terms of software and longevity, I actually think maybe there's a chance the iPhone 14 will actually last longer than the OnePlus 12. I'm not 100% too sure which one's going to be the longer lasting one for the most part, but maybe the iPhone 14 will last longer. I guess we're going to have to kind of see what happens here. But like I said, if you're going to want the bigger phone for the most part, the longer lasting one, quite potentially a device like the iPhone 12 may end up giving you a better experience for the most part. The OnePlus 12 still very, very good. This is an excellent performing device in so many ways. But I think the iPhone 14 is probably going to be the better one to go for a lot of people. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these devices. The OnePlus 12 has that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside with 12 or 16 or 24 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 14 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go see which one's the faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear in the background, so let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of covers up there. Camera 3, 2, 1. And this OnePlus 12 is being very annoying right now, so let me go and hop out of here. Let's go and do their app stores. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and again, 120 hertz here, 60 hertz here. Let's go and hop out of here. You can kind of see what's going on. Okay, hopping out of here. Let's do some of these other third-party applications. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now again, this game is not that crazy. It's not a super big, massive game. But you can kind of see again, when you're playing some of these newer games and some of these older phones like the iPhone 14, you can kind of see it's a little tiny bit slower. But honestly, that type of difference was not that big at all. And I would not go from something like an iPhone 14 to the OnePlus 12 just based off that performance. It was a very, very similar in a lot of different ways. I just hate these pop-ups that we get inside of all these phones. Now, getting into the actual game, I don't think there's going to be like a massive difference here, but some very good stuff here for the most part, hopping out of both of these. Let's go and get into another app. We can try something like Stack, 3, 2, 1. And with this one, it's probably going to be more or less kind of the same thing too. I don't really think it's going to be like that big of a difference for the most part. Getting into this game, let's kind of see what's going on, and you can kind of see again, basically kind of the same thing. Not really like a massive difference here for the most part. And then getting into the game here, basically the same thing, not really that big of a difference here, hopping out of here. So we're going to get into another one. We can go and try Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And with this one, again, you can kind of see what's going on here too. Pretty much the same exact thing that you'd probably expect as before. And you can kind of see again the same thing. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of overlap, definitely a lot of, similarities. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And you can kind of see here again, actually the iPhone 14 was faster here by just a little bit. It's actually pretty crazy. So that right there is a pretty insane thing. Hopping out of these two, we can go into Subway Surfers, 3, 2, 1. And with this one, you can probably see, I mean, there's a slight difference here, but there's such like little tiny differences here. It's like not even that big of a difference. Like if I'm going through one, there was a little glitch inside of the iPhone 14. But if I'm going from one phone to the other, you're really not going to see these big, massive differences for the most part. There is definitely a lot of overlap here for sure. And I will tell you when it comes down to these two, I mean, the OnePlus 12 is probably going to be the faster one. I think I'd prefer a phone like the OnePlus 12. But the iPhone 14, I think, is doing a really, really good job for the most part as well. So from that particular perspective, that kind of covers it up there. Now, from the camera side of things, you're getting similar, you're getting different cameras for sure. But it is funny because in some ways, I think the iPhone 14's camera might be better. So you're getting a dual camera setup on the back of the iPhone 14 wide ultra-wide camera, OnePlus 12 wide ultra-wide and telephoto lens, which again is very, very nice. I like having that on both these phones. With something like the iPhone 14 though, this phone did come out, like I said, in 2022. You're getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back of this particular device. So having that type of capability right there is very, very cool. Getting 0.5x zoom on the outside, you're getting 5x zoom on the inside. Getting video mode, cinematic mode, slow mode, time lapse. Then you're getting like portrait mode and panorama mode. Pretty decent stuff going on here. Again, definitely not perfect, but it is a good enough lens for the most part. And I do think, and I will tell you probably for the vast majority of people, it's a good enough lens. And 4K 60 on the front and the back is more than enough for probably the average person out there. The OnePlus 12, you're getting 8K capability on the back, but you're only getting 4K at 30 on the front, which is a step up. I do think it's really not even like that big of a difference, but it would be nice if we're getting like these massive, big phones to have that type of capability. You're getting 120x zoom there, which is pretty crazy. Video mode, master mode, which is wild. Portrait mode, standard other modes as well. It's a really good camera. Like I like these, cameras a lot, but you're definitely going to be getting the better camera, I think, on the iPhone 14 slightly. And to be honest, I do think when it comes down to both these phones, very, very interesting devices. I think the OnePlus 12 feels like more of a flagship. You're getting a better display, better build quality kind of. You're getting a unique looking phone. The camera on the back isn't the best, but it's still good. Reverse wireless charging and lots of good stuff overall. But I look at a phone like the iPhone 14 and I think, for how much cheaper this phone is, you can probably buy it in the used market for less than $500. It is a pretty good phone. I mean, you're getting a good camera, good display. Everything is really good on this phone, but there's not anything that's like perfect on this device when it comes down to it. So that's kind of how I see both these phones kind of comparing as of this point. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.